Where the hell are you? We're putting an entire sun in a giant balloon, capturing and industrializing dozens of galaxies a day, and you're still sharpening rocks? Today, let's visit a couple civilizations that became literal super civilizations. And then, what happened then? Wait, what civilizations are we even talking about? Let's calm down a bit and start from the beginning. We're talking about the Fermi paradox, which is the paradox that's seemingly easily for other life forms to exist. As our universe, with a diameter of 90 billion light-years with billions of galaxies and uncountable sun systems, stars, and planets, offers lots of space and time for other living beings to exist. The big question that keeps many philosophers and scientists awake at night is, where are all the civilizations if it's so easy for them to exist? Why have we never seen an alien, or at least some traces of them? As humans, we've made significant scientific progress and can gather a lot of information about our own and other galaxies, but there's no sign of interstellar engineering or unnatural changes in the vast universe. Today, let's play a small mind game and visit some theoretical civilizations to see their progress and, if they're unlucky, witness their demise. The Refires. 12-legged horse-like creatures with horns on their back and with a massive 8-meter shoulder height march over the surface of Ceta 57. Their main source of food is a light, glibbery gelatinous substance that's very nutritious to them. Their mode of communication is a sort of vibrating by which they transfer massive amounts of information. It suffices for a Refiri to communicate with another Refiri for about 18 hours to know his whole life story, how he grew up, and even his favorite glibber spot, which unfortunately dried up in a very hot phase as the sun had multiple dangerous eruptions. A small session of 30 seconds suffices for small talk, exchange of some useful information, and planning for the next 12 months of wandering as a group through the next glibber-filled plain. While grazing, or better said, glibbering peacefully, even before exploring technology or anything else that bears survival under sun eruption hits Ceta 57, this time not only drying up the delicious glibber, but the planet as a whole. This is the unspectacular end of the gigantic Refires. A natural one, but an end nonetheless. The Latops. A gray, not really exciting to look at mass crawls through a tube system. It's a Latop on its way to work. With a strong focus on science, most of the Latop population works as something we'd call a scientist. Their inclination to science is deeply rooted in their advanced capability of communication, by having a deeply complex language made up of bubble sounds. Even though transportation was a problem for the Latops, they have a massive system of tubes that covers a huge part of their planet. Already having colonized the moon, there's even a moon tube, transporting billions of Latops daily up and down to mine minerals by ingesting them and forming extraordinary hard body parts like shovels and pickaxes. The scientists eat and digest these metals and minerals and use them as food, while others are able to transform different materials into other materials, functioning like an oven or like a hydraulic press. By their natural intelligence and their strong and versatile bodies, they were able to colonize nearly all of their sun system, until they met a very sudden and unfortunate end, a giant freezing wave of cold molecules that wiped their whole sun system away, courtesy of their distant neighbors, the Gro Wrongs. The Gro Wrongs. With 2 legs holding up a shell-like structure made of scale or shard-like skin, the Gro Wrongs consist of a civilization that slowly grew at a human-like rate. They prefer living in hot areas, such as sand dunes, and gradually advance scientifically. From simple metal refinement to the invention of electricity, intergalactic colonization, and even faster than light travel, they achieved what was once considered impossible. Additionally, their hive mind-like communication allowed them to bypass a millennia of problems that plagued humans. They harnessed the energy of dozens of suns by constructing balloons with energy-absorbing materials around them. These spheres powered their massive multi-galactic endeavors. Unfortunately, while building one such sphere around a gigantic sun, comparing our sun to it would be like comparing a needlehead to a zeppelin, a terrible chain reaction occurred, flinging billions of sub-absolute zero particles through their colonial Gro empire. This catastrophe not only destroyed their own civilization, but also civilizations they would not have encountered for millions of years. The poor Ladips, who were on the verge of becoming an intergalactic empire. Intergalactic colonization. Back to reality from our three fictional civilizations. It's interesting to note that the progress of the Grytos is not an absurd sci-fi family, but very realistic, that we'll soon be able to send probes out into space that are able to replicate themselves. On it could be a large number of humans who live there in a sort of multi-generational time capsule that opens when we reach a habitable planet. The probe could consist of metals and materials that we as humans can harvest from space to keep the ship running. When we arrive, we build a colony, establish communication to Earth, and by this, we'll soon be able to conquer galaxies. Some experts are estimating that it'd take us just about 10 million years, which is a long time span. But compared to billions of years that our universe is already existing, this seems like a reasonable deadline and not too far-fetched. The Great Filter, a possible answer. To summarize and also give a possible answer to the big question where everyone is, we need to take a look at the Great Filter theory, which is one of the most widespread. Other theories, like the no-contact theory, have mostly been discarded as too unrealistic or improbable. The Great Filter theory, named after Enrico Fermi, bases itself on the grounds that civilizations need to go through a filter, like a checklist, to exist. Some of the suggested filters are the appearance of life itself, or later in a more advanced stage, the self-destruction by its own technology, be it artificial intelligence or catastrophic failures like a nuclear catastrophe or things similar to it. Outside events are also a very popular guess when it comes to fillers. This could mean asteroids or even effects that take place because of other civilizations. To name a special one that comes to mind, the self-replicating spacecraft as a berserker probe, meaning a highly technologized probe far away from its own civilization that finds a new species and immediately destroys it. One of the scariest questions that can come to mind is this so-called Great Filter in front of us, or are we already through the filter? Both answers to these questions are rather unsettling. In case the filter is in front of us and many civilizations like us have already existed, then we as a human race will be tested by some sort of filter, and the probability of getting completely erased from the surface of the galaxy is very high and probably an ending of our long-lasting history as humans. On the other hand, we could already be through the filter and be one of the few civilizations that succeeded through the filtering process. This leaves us with a very probable option, as many scientists and experts say that we as humans are completely alone in this universe. A lot of speculation has been made, and the same scientists also indicate that it could be very probable that we're not only alone in this vast universe, all by ourselves, but that we're also the first ones who made it through the hard filtering process, as no one's contacted us and we don't see any remains or traces of other species. This seems to be a very probable option. While this theory doesn't directly answer the question of where the other life forms are, we have a solid explanation of our existence and the non-existence of other life forms. How do you feel about this? Do you think that we're all alone in this universe? Or are you maybe a friend of the no-contact theory? In any case, you can also check out our other videos, in case you're wondering how the first colony on Mars could look like, or how the ongoing moon's race could end in the next few decades. Thanks for watching.